Welcome to the KidzMatter Podcast. This is Ryan Franken. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today's topic is so important. We're going to talk about childcare and kids ministry. I have been guilty in the past of saying, if you're in kids ministry, you're not in childcare. What you're doing is kingdom work. You're not babysitters. You're kingdom builders. And while there's some truth to that, Josh is going to make a point today that we've got to get childcare right. Yes, you are not only providing childcare, but you should be providing childcare and some of the best childcare in town, because it's going to open up the door for effective ministry to kids and families. So in today's podcast, Josh is a children's pastor at Redemption City Church in Baltimore, Maryland. He was a part of our very first KidMin Academy class. He's an active part of our Facebook community. He's a speaker at the KidzMatter conference. And something that Josh is very passionate about is this very topic right here. So I'm excited to jump in. We're going to talk about the importance of getting childcare right in your ministry, policies and procedures, being a gatekeeper of who joins your team, how to keep things clean, and so much more. Before we jump into today's conversation, have you tried the new KidzMatter Pro? As a member of KidzMatter Pro, you get access to an exclusive membership site, an online community, monthly master classes, specialized group coaching calls, member makeovers, a magazine subscription, a library of stuff for your volunteers, and so much more. This is the must-have membership for people who work with kids and families in the church, and we just launched a brand new version of it that we've been working on for over a year. If you're not a member of KidzMatter Pro, you can try it free for 30 days. You get access to everything for 30 days. If you decide to stick around, it's $27 a month. If you decide this isn't for me, cancel. Now, I will tell you, most people that try the membership stick because they realize there is so much value there. I'd love for you to try KidzMatter Pro. Go to kidzmatter.com/pro and start your free 30-day trial right now. One of the members of KidzMatter Pro is Josh Zello, who I'm talking to today, and I can't wait for you to listen in to this very practical, relevant conversation around providing childcare in kids ministry and how important this is. Let's get this show on the road. Friends, here is my conversation with Josh Zello. What's up, Josh? Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Ryan. So excited.
And I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for everything that you do to serve the families of Baltimore, Maryland. And just before we pushed record, you told me you're going to a Baltimore Orioles game today, which I'm a little jealous of. That sounds like so much fun.
It is a perfect spring day for it.
Yeah, you're going to have a great time. And I'm excited about today's topic. This is something that we've asked you to speak on at the KidzMatter conference. And this is something I know is close to your heart. Beth had you write a chapter in one of her books last year, and you talked about this very topic. So I'm anxious to get into it. Childcare. Do we provide childcare? Do we not provide childcare? Should we use that language? Should we not use that language in KidMin? But first, you and I go way back, but I don't want to assume that everybody knows who Josh is. Take a minute. Just tell us about your family. Tell us about your ministry journey, what your day-to-day ministry looks like these days.
Yeah, so married to my best friend, Hannah. We were middle school sweethearts, and we've been married 7 years now.
I love it.
We have a 3-year-old little girl named Avery Piper. And I have been serving in KidMin since I was 15. So 15 years now, half of my life I have been in kids ministry. Started at a huge church. I was a member at that church, and I had planned to work with kids. I thought I was going to be in the school classroom, and thought, I should go work with kids first and just make sure that I like kids before I go
Good idea. Yep.
spend money studying this. And I just fell in love with kids church and never left. So I worked on staff at that church for 10 years. A second church that was smaller for smaller, but still a large church,
Yeah.
for 3 years. And then we've been at a church plant in Baltimore for now 2 years,
Wow.
where I serve as the family ministry director over birth to fifth grade.
I love it. I love it. Um, and we first got connected when you started KidMin Academy. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, that was during my first full-time kids ministry job, and I went to school studying early childhood.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I know how kids learn and think and grow. What I don't know is how to do kids ministry. So they don't teach you
Yeah.
that.
No. And so what
So
year do you remember what year that was you did KidMin Academy?
I think it was 2016.
So it was early on.
Yes, it was the first class.
Were you part of the very first? That's right. I
I
knew
sure
that.
was.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think it was 2016. And
Yes. And
did you
then,
come to KidMin Academy live in Cincinnati?
yeah, that's where we had first
Yeah.
met.
Yes. How neat. Well, Jordan, I was just talking to Jordan Davis literally right before we came in here. So sorry about that.
Hey, Jordan's great. I don't mind that.
Yeah, Jordan's a great guy. Josh. Okay. Josh, we talk a lot about kids ministry, and I've been guilty of this. I've got to be honest. I have been guilty of saying we don't provide babysitting, we do ministry. We're not childcare providers, we're kids ministry leaders. Now, I will tell you, since you wrote this in Beth's book, I have been careful about how I say that because you brought up some really good points that Beth and I were like, wow, he's exactly right. So we talked to us about this. As KidMin leaders, do we do childcare? Is it important? And I know you go as far to say, like, you got to get childcare right before you can get ministry right. Will you talk to us about that?
Yeah, we must get childcare right. And because of that, I think it's a fine thing for us to say that we do childcare. In fact, we must do childcare because it's it's our job first to care for those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Childcare is a crucial part of kids ministry, and you can't do kids ministry until you do childcare well.
Yeah.
And because we're the church, I'll talk about this more soon, but because we're motivated by the gospel, we we should have the very best childcare. Our childcare should be safe. Our childcare should be well thought out. Our childcare should be fluid, and
Yeah.
it should be motivated by the gospel. We must have childcare.
Yeah.
Um, and why? Because first, spiritual needs can't be met before physical needs when it comes to kids.
Yeah.
Um, if we have kids in our care, and once again, we're saying the word care, if we have kids in our care and we're not giving them what they need physically, we're not thinking through things carefully. Um, we can't tell them about a God who loves them and cares about their physical needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus says that he cares about every bird.
Mm-hmm.
If that's true, how much more so does he care about those kids?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
should care about those kids. We should do childcare well because Jesus cares about those kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And number two, like I just said, we're motivated by the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was just on last week a Disney cruise, which was extraordinary,
Ah,
and
that's
saw that
awesome.
they do care and hospitality so well. And they're motivated by giving us a fun time
Yeah.
and honestly making a profit. We're
Yeah.
we're motivated by the gospel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we should have even better care, even better hospitality than the Disney Cruise Line,
Yeah.
which is an extraordinary thing.
Wouldn't it be great? I mean, if it's a budget buster, as to do a Disney cruise. It's not something that, you get a good deal on, so you decide to do it. You have to save up. But I mean, I wish every KidMin leader could do a Disney cruise because it's so inspiring. And I know this is a bit of a rabbit trail, but I'd love to take it with you for just like 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Josh, what were a few of your big takeaways? Like thinking about like experiencing that Disney cruise where you're like, what were some takeaways that you were thinking about back at home in the kids ministry?
Yeah, so what really inspired me and got me to come home, and I just got a book on the Kindle app, Be Our Guest, which is all
Mm,
about Disney hospitality.
Yeah.
And what really struck us was their care for us. It felt like
Hmm.
they had a spirit of readiness.
Yep. Yep.
And every time that we went to go sit down for meals, they had our drinks sitting there ready for us.
Mm.
My daughter's chilled white milk with a bendy straw was right there every time.
They were ready for.
Ready.
Yep.
We had the same wait staff that knew what she liked and knew what she did not like. Like with
Hmm.
most kids, they did this squeaky toy that when you five them or fist bump
Yeah.
them, it squeaks.
Yeah.
And the girl's only 3. That scared her. They saw that the first night. They never tried that again
Yeah. Yeah.
because they know her and they had a spirit of readiness there just to serve her.
Did they have your bendy straw in your drink
Oh
ready for
yeah.
you?
Oh
Good.
yeah.
Okay. Good.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it?
Uh,
It's those little things, isn't it, Josh? Like those, just like that, of having your drink ready, getting they knew what you guys liked, what you didn't like. It's those little things, those little details that can make a huge difference and an impact.
It really can. It inspired me. I challenged my team when I came home, and
Hmm.
I may eat these words. This is a fresh thought,
Yeah.
but I had thought with that same spirit of readiness, what if we don't do the self-check-in that we have?
Yeah.
What if we team there that when we see you coming down the road, we print that tag
Yeah.
and hand it as soon as you
How cool
walk
would that be?
walk in? Disney wouldn't make me get on a tablet and do what really a volunteer's job should be.
That's a good point.
No. Um, Parents
That's a
would feel
good
really
point.
loved and cared for if I just hand them that tag the second they walk in.
What an innovative idea. Yeah. Um, I love that. We could spend a whole, maybe we need to do that again sometime soon. And we could have done that even today because you were just coming off this cruise, but we could do a whole podcast episode about like 10 things. We did a Disney cruise with our girls several years, probably a decade ago. You just did one. I mean, you just learned so much about, you're right, about hospitality, caring. I know when we got on that cruise ship, they announced our name over the microphone. I don't know if they still do that or not.
They sure
Um,
do. It was amazing.
yeah, I mean, they literally, you roll out the red carpet. You know, they say your name, little things that you can pick up. But back to topic, Josh. I love what you're saying, that if we are going to minister effectively, we've got to take care of these kids effectively. You've got to get those first things
Mhm.
first. What are some dangers of a church or a children's ministry in particular, or a kids pastor saying, well, children's ministry isn't childcare? Even though you may be well intended and you may not have any ill intention in saying that, what are some dangers of that mindset?
Yeah, so first off, I can hear pushback. Well, Josh, we all agree we need to do childcare well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but when you say that phrase, you're not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
When you say that phrase, what you're saying really is kids men and kids ministry, we don't care for children,
Mm-hmm.
which I know that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so we need to say what we mean. All of us would say it's a big deal that we care for kids.
Yeah.
I've joked, child care for a child. All of us would agree that we need to care for a child, right? All of us do.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to say what we mean because words really do count.
Yeah.
And, and when we say kids ministry is not child care, what we say right off the bat is physical care is not as big of a deal as spiritual care.
Mm-hmm.
If a child is scared, hungry, and soiled,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to believe you when you tell them Jesus cares about them.
That's true. Yeah.
And by saying that, really, we deprioritize health and safety,
Mm-hmm.
which in a day and age like this, when we're seeing sicknesses and viruses,
Yeah.
no, we need to be clear, hey, we exist to care for kids.
Yeah.
Um, Spiritually, yes, but physically too.
Yeah.
I think of there's one mom here several months back who had never dropped off her child in any church. We're a very unchurched place. And she came here. Our team said, hey, we have a whole kids church. We call it City Kids. You should go see it. And this mom was like, no, that doesn't sound great. I don't want to leave my kids in church care. And when she
Mm-hmm.
walked in after church and we gave her the whole grand tour, she was so impressed by how safe and clean and systematized City Kids was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of that, the following week, she did drop off her child. And because she saw the trained team, she saw the clean toys, she saw the policies in place and the cameras that we have. She
Mm-hmm.
saw all of those things and felt cared for enough that she dropped off her child, who would have never heard about the gospel from us apart from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, that is so true. And it's funny that you mentioned that mom story, because as you were talking right before you mentioned it, I was thinking about moms, and that this is not only an effective way to minister to kids by, taking care of them well and with excellence, but it's also a way that you really minister to mom, because mom wants to know, mom is leery she's leery anyway about dropping a kid off, especially, you're right, Josh, that first time, that second time, that, it's not really till that third or fourth visit that the anxiety starts to go down. But, those first few times, I mean, if mom's dropping that kid off and the room's crazy, or there's only, two adults and there's 56 kids running around, or, mom is not going to be at ease, is she? So,
No,
Josh, what can we do? Will you talk through some practical things that we can do as KidMin leaders to provide the best childcare in our city, knowing that we aren't only childcare providers, but that is an important part of our children's ministry? What can we do to provide excellent childcare? Give us some tips or hints or suggestions.
yeah, so I wrote down four here,
Okay.
thinking through this. Number
Yep.
one, we need to have clear-cut safety policies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a serving team member, a, a volunteer who is a pediatric oncologist,
Mm-hmm.
and she just wrote us like a 50-page child safety guide that
Mm-hmm.
has, hey, here's everything that we have thought through carefully.
Mm-hmm.
If this were to take place, if a child were to do this, here's child abuse defined, and here's how we're not going to have that here. Here's how to spot that. All of those things, things that we hope that we never have to think through, um,
Yeah.
is all thought through there, so that as we have that first time mom who were to come and consider having her kid stay, um, might ask, well, what do you do if there's an active shooter down the street? We're in the inner city.
Mm-hmm.
We go, oh, great. Let's turn to page 14 of our child's safety guide. Our team is trained on this, and here's the whole plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a plan. It struck me when I first moved here, and we're a young church plant, but there were several things that I had thought through. If this goes wrong, we don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You need to have a plan for everything,
You're right.
even things that you pray never, ever take place.
Yeah.
Have plans. Plan for what you pray for will never take place.
Josh, um, how do you move beyond, I create a plan as the leader, I have a system in place, I have a policy manual or whatever, it's in a Google Sheet, it's in a Google Drive. How do you move beyond, I know what these policies are, and to where your volunteers know what they are and are comfortable with those policies? What do you think that looks like?
Yeah, so for us, when we first onboard you, Ryan, if you came and served in City Kids for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
part of you coming on would be me sending you that and saying, hey, I know this is
Nice.
long. I know this is a thorough document.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to read this and then let me know when you have. Uh,
Nice.
and I think that shows the serving teams too, hey, what you do here is a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we've thought through these things, and I'm not saying that you have to have this book mastered right now, but
Mm-hmm.
read through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I train throughout the year, and I'll talk about training here soon too,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of what I train is going to come from that book as I
Okay.
just constantly drip
I
that.
love that.
of, hey, remember, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Or several weeks back, we had that incident at Lakewood Church.
Yeah.
Give me a chance to come to my team and say,
Yeah.
hey, remember, we have a plan if this does happen.
Yeah. I love that.
Good.
All right. So have policies, procedures in place. Number 2.
Number 2, gatekeep who serves.
That's good.
Do not say we are such a need for serving teams. Anybody can come.
Yeah.
You just need a pulse and you need to pass a federal background check. Come on
Yeah.
in. Now, I sit down and I get to know those who want to serve. The first step is they set up a one-on-one face-to-face with me.
Mm-hmm.
I hear about their faith. I hear about their spiritual habits. I hear about some of their their theology, and
Mm-hmm.
then I tell them about City Kids
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, here's what we ask of those who serve in City Kids.
Yeah.
Will you step up to this?
Mm-hmm.
City Kids ask the most of any serving team at the church.
Yeah.
We ask you to serve as much as you can, not just once every month, because we
Yeah.
want the kids to know you and trust you and have a relationship built. Um,
Right.
so, in a sense, that face to face, I'm not trying to sell them on City Kids. If they hear me say anything that makes them go, this isn't a good fit, that's fine.
Right.
Great. I'll connect you with a serving team that is a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
And because you want a serving team that is completely bought in,
Mm-hmm.
that is safe for those kids, and is bought in enough that they're going to read that 50-page safety guide and watch my training videos when I send
Right.
them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So important. You're the makeup of your team. And you're right. You have to, it can be difficult, um, you know, because we need so many people. And, it's easy to just accept anybody. Yeah, you're right, Josh. If you have a pulse and you say that you love kids, we'll find a spot for you. But you really do have to be a shepherd to those kids, and part of a role of a shepherd is protect, right? So,
Right.
gatekeep who serves. Number 3.
Number 3, constantly and thoroughly train.
That's good.
Training should not just be a one-time thing. When you come on board,
Mm-hmm.
you watch this short video, you read this guide, good luck.
Yeah.
No, training should be, my job is to walk alongside them as they
Mm-hmm.
serve. My job is to constantly equip them. Every week when I do things like listen to the KidzMatter podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending thoughts to
Love
my
that.
whole team. They get a group me from me most weeks of,
Mm-hmm.
hey, here's a thing that I just learned or I was just challenged on. I'm going to pass that down.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they get from us a weekly short form, like 2 to 3 minute video from me or somebody on my
Mm.
City Kids leadership team,
Yeah.
training in short form every week. And
Mm-hmm.
then quarterly, we have a face-to-face larger group training time.
Yeah.
Uh, in fact, next week, we're doing Global KidMin Day. We're going to watch it late.
Fun.
And that's going to be our quarterly training.
Good for you.
So constantly train, constantly drip. And as you learn, invite your team to come alongside you and learn with you.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. All of this. This is so good. And this is a missing part of so many of our ministries, is this training aspect. And I love what you said about the short form weekly content. How are people getting that short video? What's that look like for you?
Yeah, so right now we have a City Kids group me.
Okay. Yep.
And then every week I just send that out through a private YouTube link. And what that
Nice.
does is that
Nice.
means that I now have a private channel with a collection of 50 plus training videos.
100%. That's so smart. I love that. And this is something that any of us can do, friends. I mean, if you have a phone, you now have a device that records such good quality video and photo, or video and audio. And, you can even just upload it right to YouTube from this thing, and don't overthink. I would encourage you not to overthink it. Yeah, if you want to put an intro, outro, edit it, you can, but you don't have to. Some of those, we live in this world, Josh, don't we? We're TikTok and YouTube, and it's all this raw stuff of these people just with their phones doing stuff. Have that ongoing communication. And I think video, like what you're doing, in short segments every week, is a great idea. All right, before we get to our final two questions, Josh, what's number 4? Have those
Real
policies and
quick, number 4,
procedures. Sorry, be gatekeeper, train, and then number 4.
cleanliness is a huge deal.
I love it. Yeah.
And that is, yes, things like minimizing clutter. So when you first walk into City Kids, our check-in space should be clear and it should be clean. We should have that spirit of readiness that I just spoke about.
Yep.
In between service times, even if it's tight, our classroom should be cleaned up.
Yep.
But then things like just cleanliness of toys. We have a quarterly clean. We just did this last week, that we have some of our serving teams stay after church. And this takes like 3 or 4 hours, but we clean every single toy one by one.
I love that.
And we do that every single quarter.
Yeah.
And things like that, you're setting up a world where your space can be kept clean without you having to thoroughly clean every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, even things like, I remember when I had my first preschool pastor job, and my 3rd or 4th week, my boss gave me the feedback of, hey, your large group times are great, but your stage is cluttered. And my eyes keep going there. And he was spot on.
So true.
My half drank coffee cup did not need to be on the stand on the stage.
Oh, that's true.
It's cluttered.
Yeah.
So cleanliness is a big deal. And parents, when they walk in and see a clean space, when they walk in and see that clean classroom, that clean large group room, that clean check-in space, feel trust towards you. Because if you're caring for your space, you can be trusted to care for their kids.
100%. Josh, this is so good, so practical. Thank you so much. I always like to end the podcast with 2 questions. First of all, I'd love to hear, what's your favorite Bible story, Josh, and what makes it your favorite?
I love Gideon. First off, I love seeing the sense of humor that God has, that Gideon is just filled with dread of my team is just too small. And God comes and says, it's too big, shrink it.
Yep.
And he does. And once again, Gideon's like, it's too small. And God's like, nope, shrink it.
Shrink it.
I love seeing that. Just shows me that God can do big things through unlikely candidates.
So good.
I think about me, when I was 4 or 5, I had a horrible stutter that was every single word. And now it's still there. It's minimal, but it's so cool that God can use a kid who could not even get through one statement. That now I lead a kids ministry. I'm on podcast.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing that God can use
unlikely
candidates and does every day.
I love it. What a great reminder. Thank you, Josh. And you are Gideon. You're doing such a great kingdom work. All right. Second, let's end with this question. What's something big that Josh Zello is working on right now?
Preschoolpastor.com.
Tell us about it.
So, when I was first engaged to my wife, I remember telling her, I want to be a preschool pastor. And Hannah went, great. Is that a thing? And I went, I don't think so. I want to do it. And by God's grace, I found a church that I did get to serve in that role. But from what I've seen, and this is not all of us, but I keep seeing kids' churches that run where really the real ministry starts in kindergarten and early childhood. We just need to keep those
Yeah.
kids alive.
Yeah.
When really early childhood science says that those first 3 to 4 years are crucial to who kids are and
Mm-hmm.
who they grow up to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if early childhood science is right, oftentimes the church doesn't act like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really want preschoolpastor.com to be a place that I can equip those who serve in early childhood. Um, so, and that can be a lowercase p pastor too. If you
100%.
say, "Hey, I'm not on the elder team," that's
Mm-hmm.
great. If
Yeah.
you shepherd sheep, if you
Amen.
shepherd lambs, come
Yeah.
on in.
Yeah.
I want to equip you with blogs and coaching, and I'm dreaming of a podcast. I'll probably talk to you about that, Ryan.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. You should do it.
But I really see that need that those who serve in early childhood, they need help.
Yeah.
I want help.
Amen. Go check out preschoolpastor.com. Josh, this has been such a great conversation. I know you're going to go deeper into this at the KidzMatter conference this fall. Can't wait to see you there, Josh, and your team. Can't wait to see you all there. If you don't have tickets, go check out the KidzMatterConference.com. Josh, this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you for being such an active part of our community, and keep making a difference in Baltimore, Maryland. You're doing great work.
Thank you, friend.